Welcome to another episode of Let's Talk About Clutter. I'm your host, Margo, a professional organizer specializing in chronic clutter. And last week I did an episode dedicated to how to declutter your entire wardrobe. So today I want to follow it up with you just decluttered, but now we have to organize. So today I'm going to be talking about simple tips for how to organize your closet. We're going to focus on functional use, organization best practices, and of course, storage tips. Now, after you finish decluttering, the most important thing, and don't forget this step before you hop into organization, is to clean your closet. Clean the floors, clean the walls, clean the dressers. You're probably not going to be doing this again for a very, very long time. So since you already invested all that time, energy, and effort into taking everything out, all the clothing that you own, you might as well give it a nice little scrub down. Now, I caution you, okay? Oftentimes we get super excited once we declutter. We want to run out to Home Goods or Target or, browse Amazon and get all of these things to organize our closet and other areas of the house. Don't do it just yet. How you organize your clothing, how you organize the closet, the drawer, depends on your storage space. So you want to think about where it makes sense to store each category of items. And yes, when we talk about functionally organizing your space, one of the best and most seamless way to do it is to ensure that you are categorizing your items. So what do I mean by that? It means that your sweaters should be kept with your sweaters, your pants with your pants, your shirts with your shirts, your dresses with your dresses, so on and so forth. This makes retrieval incredibly seamless. And not only that, when you keep like items with like items, it gives you a very clear sense of exactly what you have in each category. And yes, you might be even tempted to declutter some more because at the end of the day, why do you need 25 pairs of pants? What we really want to achieve is that your closet should never look overstuffed. If it does, a little more decluttering or maybe shifting some of the items around into storage bins might be the solution. I myself have an incredibly teeny tiny closet. I live in a New York City apartment. We literally have one closet and it's primarily dedicated to my daughter. And, I've been practicing Project 333. I am a wardrobe minimalist. So my wardrobe essentially fits into 2 dresser drawers. Now, because my space is incredibly tiny, what I do is I only will have clothing out for that particular season. Everything else is stored in vacuum sealed bags in a bin under my bed. And I'll talk more about that later today. So don't fret if you're somebody like Margo, I just don't have that much space. There are solutions. We can also work to maximize the space that you already have. But 9 out of 10 times, it does not mean that you need more storage space. You simply need to get creative, have less stuff, and probably fall in love with vacuum sealed bags. They are a lifesaver if you don't have too much closet space. So whenever we talk about any kind of organization, it doesn't matter if it's your wardrobe, it doesn't matter if it's, your linen closet or your kitchen or, wherever. Organization, and I'm going to say this twice, organization is less about fancy bins and containers and more about functional use. So again, it's less about fancy stuff and going out and buying a bunch of things. I promise you can probably get away with what you already have. So it's less about that and more about functional use. The aesthetics can always come later. If this is your first time organizing your closet, buy nothing. There are a few items, I will actually talk about them. And again, if you want to invest in something, the items I'm going to talk about today in this podcast will be a lifesaver and they are incredibly cost effective. I live by them, but you really don't have to go out and go bananas. I've seen people buy like clear bins for their shoes, like where every single pair of shoes is in like a clear plastic container. investing in like these crazy closet organizers. Again, that is something that can potentially come later on. But right now, we really just want to figure out what is the best way to utilize your space where it's incredibly easy and seamless for you to get ready and you literally see every single item that you own for that season. So to start with, the number one organization practice is what I mentioned before, and that is simply to group like with like items. So if you have your shirts and they're mixed in with your pants that are mixed in with your bathing suits and your bras, it can get very, very messy very, very quickly. So I urge you that before you start returning things to the drawers and to the closet space, group like items with like items. It'll only take you a couple of minutes if you want to level up. And I honestly, full transparency, this is how I organize my stuff. I actually will color code, which is really funny because the bulk of what I own is black, white, and beige. But again, with that said, color coding immediately, just from a usability and aesthetic standpoint, looks fabulous. And this does not cost you any money. It just costs a couple of minutes of your time. Now, getting back to functional use, the front and middle of your closet should be for clothing that you wear most often. Just like your kitchen countertop, the middle and the front of your wardrobe and your closet is prime real estate. So you should not have things that are things that you wear, I don't know, maybe like going out attire that you wear like once a year or whatnot, or sweaters and dresses that you don't love. Those should be stored elsewhere. The middle portion, so the portion that's the easiest to access, should include the items that you wear every single day. You want to use the very top of your closet for clothing you only wear once or twice a year, or out of season attire. Now, here's a little aesthetic tip. Avoid as much as you can storing things on the floor of your closet. The reason for that is it actually will give it a very cluttersome look. You don't even have to have that much stuff on the floor, but aesthetically, whenever we have things on the floor, your living room, your kitchen, your bathroom, whenever we have things on the floor, it naturally makes the space appear more cluttered than it is. When it comes to storing things, I really recommend that you invest in vacuum sealed storage bags. They are incredible. They are cost effective. I'll actually leave a link to my favorite ones in the episode description. But with that said, again, if you're somebody that does not have a lot of closet space, you want to store out of season attire in vacuum sealed bags, and preferably if you have a shelf above your closet, you want to store it there. Again, this is actually something I don't have, so I will vacuum seal and I will store in a bin underneath my bed, but it'll save you like 80% of your space. The one little thing that I do want to say about vacuum sealed bags, there are certain items, materials of clothing, for example, like silk, that you cannot vacuum seal. Now, another thing when it comes to organization basic, and something that I see a lot of folks don't do, and you're just losing out on like so much more space. You want to take advantage of wall space. Don't let it go to waste. Consider mounted hooks, right? So these can be found at the local dollar store and can be used to hang purses, scarves, jewelry, and anything else that you can hang up. Another way to utilize wall space, or rather door space, okay, total missed opportunity, is to get an over-the-door shoe rack. Maybe you even own one. Now, with that said, an over-the-door shoe rack doesn't actually need to be used for shoes. You can store gloves. You can store anything that essentially will fit into those little pockets. Now imagine how much additional space you just gave your closet if you're using wall space and door space, and you're vacuum sealing the items that you don't need. And a lot of times we can also vacuum seal blankets and pillows and big bulky items that are just like an eyesore when you open up your closet. The point I'm trying to make here is that you want to use every inch of your closet. Now, maybe you are somebody who naturally has a lot of clothing. Maybe you are somebody who has already decluttered and you're just you know what? You want to keep now everything that you have. You don't want to have a minimalistic wardrobe. You like the idea of variety. Again, it can be an abundance. You could be a maximalist when it comes to your wardrobe because you're somebody that likes to change your clothing every single day. I am not telling you to declutter and wear the same things over and over and over again. Simply when I say, you're effectively decluttering when whatever you are left with in your closet, even if it's a lot of stuff, are things that you wear all the time. So with that said, how do you maximize, right? Maybe you have a lot of stuff and you don't want to part with it. And you're like, Margo, it's not fitting in my closet. What do I do? Help, right? Invest in velvet hangers. Velvet hangers save 50% of your space in your wardrobe. Not only that, they are slip free. I don't know about you, but I do not like when I open the wardrobe and things are on the floor because they slipped off the plastic hanger. And then you're trying to put them back on and they're slipping and it's just a waste of time. I can't tell you how happy I am the day I went to Home Goods and I literally purchased a 50-pack of velvet hangers. I was like, oh my goodness. All of a sudden, I had all of the space in the closet. I also didn't have to use the 50 velvet hangers, but regardless, velvet hangers are your bestie for maximizing space in your wardrobe. So if you are just starting out, again, you don't have to go above and beyond. This doesn't have to be overly complicated. I find that a lot of folks get super excited about, organizing, but then when you actually start doing it, you're like, oh my God, this is more complicated than I ever thought it would be. Organization takes time. Even as somebody who does this for a living, every single home, every single closet is different. And sometimes we just have to play around with the way that we kind of organize and use things. I will even ask my clients after we finished organizing their wardrobe or their closet, I will be like, okay, go in and use it. Walk around the space, go in the closet, try reaching for things. How does this work for you? Sometimes it's simply trial and error. So I want to make sure that if you organize your first time and you're like, okay, this is not working for me, don't think that you failed, right? Then try again, see what works, see what doesn't work, and then rearrange things. And this might take a couple of tries. Now, once you finally nailed it, once you're like, okay, the closet works for me, I can see all of my seasonal clothing, it's completely seamless for me to pull out an item, put it on, and go on with my day. That means, you know what? This works. Now, your job moving forward is to maintain it. And this is where I find a lot of people kind of fall off because organization requires maintenance. Just like, decluttering is not a once and done type of deal. You are naturally going to purchase new clothing. And if you purchase new clothing and you are not getting rid of the older clothing, eventually 6 months, a year, 2 years from now, your closet is going to be overflowing again. So there are two ways that you can maintain your beautiful, organized closet and drawers. And that is to do a seasonal purge. So at the time that I am recording this podcast episode, the summer is coming to an end. Labor Day is just around the corner. So me and my daughter last week literally, closed out the summer season. We went through all of our summer clothing and we got rid of everything that's, maybe old, that, she grew out of, that we're never going to wear again. In the beginning, this might take longer. Now, between myself and my daughter, it does not take us more than 5 to 10 minutes to go through all the clothing that we own. And if you continue to do this season by season, and the reason I say it's best to do it when a season is coming to an end is because what you wore is still fresh in your mind. See, the mistake that folks make sometimes is they wait until next year. So like spring is over. Maybe you're somebody who's taking out your summer clothing and they wait to then go through the items and be like, oh, do I need this? Do I not? But the thing is, a lot of times you forget what you wore, what you didn't wear, and something might still look nice, but when you put it on, it doesn't look good on you. So because everything is so fresh in your mind right now, as we're transitioning from one season to the next, just go through the previous season's clothing, keep what you need, and declutter the rest. And once you create that as a habit, doing it every couple of months, eventually you're going to be down to only feel good clothing. Another hack that I want to offer you, and this literally takes a second of your time, is to put a bin in your closet. This is seamless. And the reason you're doing this will be a decluttering bin or box or whatever you want. Every time you pull out an item of clothing and you're like, I don't wear this, I don't like it. Chances are what you've done in the past is you put it back in your closet, which is a big no. Instead, if you know that you don't love this item, it doesn't fit you, you're not going to wear it, it's old, it has pills all over it, it has, yellow stains, whatever, mystery stains, especially if you have kids, throw that item in that bin. And you're going to keep doing that until that bin or box is full. Once it's full, declutter it. This does not require any energy from you. These are seamless decisions, and I can't tell you how impactful this has been for a lot of my clients. I promise you, when your closet is clutter-free and organized, it's going to just be so incredible for you to get ready in the morning. You're going to want to show it off. You're going to find yourself standing in front of your open closet, not going, oh my God, what do I wear? But instead marveling at how beautiful it is. Now, if you're someone who has a lot of clothing, who maybe has been accruing clothing for years and have a hard time letting go, you're not sure what you should part with, what you should keep. Maybe you've even been thinking about you've heard this concept of wardrobe capsuling, and you really want to kind of minimize the amount of clothing that you have. I have an entire training dedicated to that, step by step, how to declutter, how to identify your style, how to create your first capsule wardrobe, how to organize, how to maintain. I'll leave a link to it in the show notes. So I hope you found this episode helpful. If you're somebody who's not ready to organize just yet, I have an episode all about how to declutter your wardrobe. So I encourage you to listen to that one before you begin to organize. As always, good luck on your decluttering journey. Thank you so much for listening, and remember to be good to yourself.